Good morning and welcome to the market forecast for Wednesday, September the 16th. I'm John Hoagland. Thanks for trusting me with your time. As always, we're going to look at our markets through a hopefully consistent context as well as through the lens of risk management. If you're in the markets already, hopefully things are heading your way. We've got some markets somewhat on the move this morning after our 7:30 retail sales numbers came out. A little bit disappointing, but somewhat expected as consumer spending is kind of slowing as the extended unemployment benefits have expired. So a little less money in people's hands, at least for the time being. It's going to be interesting to see how the market responds to that, especially with everything else coming out today. We also have 9 o'clock today, Central Time, business inventories due out, housing market index due out, 9:30. Crude stocks due out, pretty big shocker from the API last night, and then of course the FOMC meeting release at 1 o'clock Central Time, and then the chair press conference at 1:30. So we're going to see a lot of data coming out today, a lot of information, possibly a lot of opportunities, and then even with everything that we have known that's coming out today, there's always the possibility of some sort of headline risk, something that we're not expecting. So make sure you use stops, make sure you protect yourself at all times. As far as other news is concerned, well, yes, it's Fed Day. No policy changes are expected. Fed expected to update economic forecast now as far out as 2023. So we may get a picture of what the Fed is looking at for the next couple of years. The yen has rallied to a 2-month high as Japan has confirmed a new prime minister. Crude prices a pretty serious jump yesterday after the API surprise drop in inventories. The API announcing a 9.5 million barrel draw in crude. The EIA, however, is expecting something a little bit different. They're looking for a 1.3 million barrel boost. With the hurricanes in the Gulf, and especially, right now we have Sally hitting the coast of, I think it's Alabama and Florida worst last night. We had a friend from Pensacola here yesterday. Hopefully, he'll be here today to give us a kind of an update on how things are going for him and in Pensacola in general. Hopefully, he's doing okay. It's kind of, how can we not have a little bit of a draw in crude oil? It just seems to make sense. So we've got a pretty decent up move in crude oil this morning. We're going to take a look at all of that stuff. Make sure that you do like, share, comment, question, feedback. Heckling is always welcome. I do usually deserve a good heckling. So, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can get notifications when we do go live, as we do every day on the forecast at 8, the recap at 3, the coach's playbook on Tuesdays. And we're planning on bringing a lot more live data and info to you in the near future. So make sure you subscribe. I want to say good morning to everyone. I see Danielle is first one in the room. Danielle, you win the prize. Guten Tag. Andrea, good morning. Nick Mo, Fanis, good morning. Tanya, Rob. Dream Team Institutional is asking if we have any trades, any Top Step hats. Can't find a Top Step store. It's something that we are in the works of creating. So Dream Team, we'll keep an eye out for you and try and let you know when that does happen. Good morning, Christopher, Tanya, and TST hoodies, beanies, and maybe a jacket. It's getting cold over here, and I'm not above having my own printed. Well, Tanya, that's saying something there. We'll see. We'll see if we can't get this TST swag store open soon. Stephen, good morning. Art, Sarah, Subconscious, Keith, good morning. KJ, Jack, John, Michael, Dimitri, good morning. Vast West, KJ, thumbs up, please. Hopefully. And Christopher Todman, good to see everybody out this morning. So, on a last look at the VIX, it was down slightly at 25.39. The dollar index down at 92.87. Dollar index seems to keep leaking down towards its 52-week low. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's a little good morning from Lacey. She's, I think, starting to feel better after her we had her spayed, so she's been a little bit grumpy, and hopefully she's starting to feel better. Good morning, Mark. Good to see you. And why don't we go ahead and jump into the charts now? There's Lacey. Oh, Lacey, you feel better, baby. I hope you're good. All right, so let's take a look. Art W. Oh, joining from there he is. No power or water in Pensacola. Well, Art, I'm glad that you're okay. Thanks for taking the time to join us from Pensacola on your smartphone. I'm sure it is going to be a long day down there, so make sure you stay safe. I mean, everybody, make sure you say a prayer for those in the wake of and at risk with the Hurricane Sally, as well as those on the West Coast suffering from the wildfires, of course. Plenty of water, just not running water. Yeah, that's tough to take, Art, but tough your way through it. There's a better day coming, and that's what we pray for. Mike, morning. What time do you use for regular trading hour session open for currencies, energies, etc.? Well, energies, 8 o'clock Central. Currencies, 7:20 Central, as well as gold and the treasuries. And the equities, 8:30 Central is the regular trading hour session open. Now, they also have different closes as well. Like gold, the old pit close was 12:30 Central Time, so that's 1:30 Eastern Time. The currencies close at about 2, equities close about 3:15, and the treasuries also close at 2 o'clock, and those are in Central Time. Thanks for the question. We have the equities finishing rollover tomorrow. Friday is quadruple witching hour. So we're going to be able to start to depend on the volume and open interest information that we do look at, but now we're in crude oil rollover, so those are going to be a little bit blurry. So we're just going to be trying to trade what we see and making sure to manage our risk. Managing risk means you're looking for opportunities close to points of invalidation for those trades. Little risk, big rewards. Asymmetric opportunities, that's what we're looking for. Interesting, all these trees are burning, but lumber prices are down. Craig, when I was a young man just getting into the business, one of my first jobs in a trading pit was I was a deck holder for a couple of brokers in the lumber pit at the Mercantile Exchange. Is kind of a funny story here. JD, John Doherty, who was also with Top Step, his dad was in that pit. Now, I'm just a kid. His dad was, he was a broker and, a generation older than I am. But when John came to the company, and I was talking about working in the lumber pit, and he came with a big smile on his face, and he says, "Hey, did you know Jack Doherty?" And I said, "Well, of course I did. I was in the lumber pit. We knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody. It wasn't a big pit." He said, "That was my dad." So kind of a funny story. All right. Good morning, Rocker. Good morning. All right, let's get into the charts here before I start rambling on about something else. As always, we start with the daily in crude. Here we go. Yesterday we had a pretty decent move up towards our weekly kickoff high, which was 38.60. Not quite making it there, but certainly a target for the upside move yesterday. This morning we're opening above that level. Now, rollover range is somewhat being disrupted by that API last night, which again was a draw of 9.5 million barrels. It's going to be very interesting to see how the EIA treats this this morning. Volume is, of course, very difficult to read because of rollover. It looks like it's falling off here, but a lot of it is moving over into the November contract. We're not there yet. It's going to be tomorrow or Friday where you're going to see the volume higher in the November contract. Just keep an eye on it. I'm thinking that if they're getting to be relatively even by the end of the trading day today, I'm going to switch to November tomorrow. tomorrow, either contract is going to be fine. Just remember, you're going to have a little bit of a thinner market, probably in both of them until the rollover ends. Um, so all eyes are probably on the EIA number today. Again, it's expected as a boost of 1.3 million barrels after that 9.5 million barrel draw by the API last night. Lots of conflicting information. So, anyways, we've broken out of our pennant formation that we were kind of forming down here. Building energy, yes, of course, markets can become directional during rollover. It depends on a lot of the fundamental information. And a lot of the fundamental information we saw last night, as well as two hurricanes in the last month, has to be affecting crude stocks here in the U.S. Or at least we can make the assumption, but we still have to trade what we see. So looking here on the 30-minute chart, we've just opened. We've got a pretty decent gap above yesterday's high. Settlement is down here at 38.28. We got 38.60 as our target to the move upside. It was resistant last night, finally broke out above, should become supportive if given the opportunity to take an execution there today. Again, I'm going to try and stay patient. I know that we've opened out of balance. There's probably a bigger opportunity and an earlier opportunity in the crude market this morning, but I have to remember there's an important release coming out at 9:30 that may contrast the information we received yesterday. So we've got a lot of overnight longs here. Those overnight longs seem content to continue to try and push this market higher. So again, I'm going to try and stay patient. We've got our overnight high to lean on. We've got a kind of a weak high here in the overnight high. But if we can't get above it or hold above it, I'll look for a move back towards settlement to even out some of the overnight inventory before the 9:30 EIA number comes out. I'm going to be flat for that no matter what I'm doing. And then I'll take a look and see what happens. Again, we get a nice opportunity to see this 38.60 level again as support. It might give us a pretty decent opportunity, number one, to limit our risk. If we get too much, if we get very far, very much through it, it might be failing as a support level. But if it does hold and we do take an execution to the long side up there, we may see some decent profits on that. I'm always looking to take trades at important inflection levels as close as I can to them to limit the risk. And then I can look at this and say, wow, well, if this does hold, we've got a pretty good expansive move to the upside, quite possibly. To the S&Ps now. Okay, rollover is nearing an end. We all know it's quadruple witching on Friday. We are testing our rollover range. Whenever the market goes into rollover, it tends to keep the market somewhat range bound as our longer, stronger money is working on getting a cheap roll over becoming directional. But of course, they will become directional if the information and if the marketplace forces them to. We've got 38.80, our weekly kickoff high here, was a pretty decent support level during the regular trading hour session yesterday. Open interest is very difficult to read. It's an additional 40,000 contracts, but again, that's largely rollover related. So, and volume, same thing. It's difficult to really gauge until next week, when we can depend on front month volume and overall open interest to give us a hint of what or how good the auction process is doing and going any particular direction or no direction at all. So this weekly kickoff high, supportive yesterday afternoon, supportive last night. I'm not sure how likely it is that we're going to get another opportunity to see it, but here's the support last night or yesterday, supportive last night. We've got settlement here at 33.95 even. We've got some overnight longs here. With the retail sales numbers that came out, it seems as though we're kind of pulling back here, not likely to have a gap on the open. As a matter of fact, it's more likely we're probably going to open inside value from yesterday, which will probably encourage me and perhaps you to try and stay patient and look for better trade location as the day goes on. When we open in range and value, sometimes it pays to let the market establish an early range and then work the extremes of that range. It's FOMC day. Who knows what's going to happen? A lot of what's going to, well, probably a lot of what is going to happen throughout the session today is going to be basically liquidation and posturing to protect themselves, to protect ourselves against any unusual, probably more unusual verbiage by Chairman Powell than anything that is known to come out. We're probably not going to be changing rates. We don't have that far to change them, and so far things seem to be going pretty well. So I'm not looking for a rate change, and I'm going to try and just remember a lot of what's happening today is directly related to what's going to happen at 1 o'clock, 1:30. A lot of it is just going to be, again, hedging, posturing, and liquidating to protect yourselves, or to protect ourselves from what may happen at 1 o'clock. It may be a non-event. We don't know that, but we certainly want to try and make sure we are protecting ourselves. And for the NASDAQ, again, we have a breakout above the weekly kickoff high. Not so much a breakout outside the rollover range, though. Weekly kickoff supportive last night after closing above it yesterday. That's always good. Rollover range being tested to the upside a little bit in the overnight, but it seems as though this market is kind of settling in for, I was thinking maybe we'd have somewhat of a gap, but no, we've got settlement down here at 11,450 and a quarter. We're basically right there. We've taken out any overnight longs. We don't have any overnight inventory with which to work with early in the session today. Looks like we're going to be opening back in range, and that tells me, again, you guys might get sick of me saying this, but it tells me I'm going to try and stay patient. Again, it's FOMC day. A lot of what's going to happen is posturing, liquidating, and hedging against a big price swing that may or may not happen. Seems like FOMC releases have been a bit of a non-event, but we don't know. Speaking of FOMC, that's coming out at 1 o'clock. I want to invite everybody to the group coaching session today. I'm going to put the URL in the live chat there. I'm going to start the session probably about 1:05 today because of the FOMC release. Maybe we'll get a look and see what happens on the FOMC release. We're probably going to be, still in that group meeting as Chairman Powell begins to speak. We'll try not to step on anybody's trading opportunities, but I've got some mailed-in questions, emailed-in questions that I'm going to start with. And if you have any questions, of course, you can just type them into the chat or the Q&A room. If you decide to come, we'd love to see you there. We've got a pretty decent community that does tend to come every week, and hopefully, it is our goal at Top Step, and even more specifically, my goal is to try and improve the performance of traders everywhere. If I can, I don't know everything. Nobody does. So back to the NASDAQ. I'm gonna stay chill while we open, if we open inside of range and value. If something changes between now and the open, which is about 10 minutes from now, and I better start talking faster because I want to make sure everybody is ready and available to respond if they choose to on the open. So NASDAQ, again, going to stay patient. Gold. Volume remains weak. Okay, we're in short time frame control. We're still range bound. We did have a breakout to above this line here, but it didn't necessarily bring great volume yesterday. We had a pretty decent day of volume. We do have some indication that buyers were interested in this market yesterday. We added 3,500 in open interest. We got a little bit of pushback late in the day. This is encouraging to me. We're currently trading right about yesterday's high, which looks like an important level for a possible execution. Open interest increased bodes of change. But when? Well, why not today? Let's see what the 30-minute looks like. Okay, we've got settlement down here. The market has opened inside yesterday's range. We're flirting with the overnight high from yesterday, from the night before last. This is a kind of an interesting level for us here. We've got some overnight longs here, but so far they're continuing to get paid. That's an indication of possibly medium or longer time frame traders coming into this market and possibly continuing this move to the upside. If we can't hold above yesterday's high, if we begin to build some structure up here, there's lots of short time frame longs willing to take us back down towards settlement, which is 1966.20. And for our currencies, we've gone from kind of looking at the euro as our fair-haired child here in the currencies to the Japanese yen now looking like it's providing some more opportunities. Here in the Japanese yen, I mean, volume and open interest is weak. We lost 1,200 in open interest yesterday. Not a great day as far as volume is concerned. Again, we're still somewhat in rollover in our currencies, and it's kind of telling here because we've been range bound for the last 3-4 days. So we are in short time frame control here until we're not. We don't know when that's going to happen. We've got a kind of an expanding upside digestion pattern going there, and we're right in the middle of it. Here's settlement right here, 118.7650. We did have some overnight longs that have long since liquidated, and in prime fashion, market opened outside of value, drove right back into value, back to settlement. I'd say that our overnight inventory has been adjusted. Now we're looking for opportunities, and I'm looking for opportunities against short time frame levels. This move down here to this point of control was certainly an interesting spot here. The market tends to return back to points of control that it has not revisited, just to see if there's anything left to do there. It's a focal point, and the market does tend to go there. So this move back down to yesterday's point of control, finding some rejection there, is an interesting opportunity. If we see an opportunity for the market to come back down close to this level without exceeding the regular trading hour session to the bottom here, this could be a very cheap trade that might offer a bigger opportunity to the upside. But again, we're in short time frame control, so we're looking for short time frame levels with which to remain respected. If the short time frame levels cease to be respected, it may be an indication of possible change and a longer time frame entering the marketplace. Let's take a look at the Japanese yen now. So we've had 3 straight days of moving higher. We had an opening range low on this regular trading hour session here. We closed the gap here, but kept our range overlapping to higher. We've got another gap, I think, to the upside here, and the market continuing. We're seeing some pretty decent volume coming in above weekly kickoff high. We've been really looking forward to some sort of a change like this, and this could be. This could be a substantial change. I'm looking up here at this previous weekly kickoff high at 9,600, relatively close to this swing high here, as a potential first target for this move to the upside. We added 2,500 in open interest just yesterday on a move that we were working on breaking out of a weekly kickoff level. Volume seems to be pretty healthy. Let's take a look at the 30. Looks like we may have missed the boat here if we're looking for longs early in the session here. I believe our opening range, just like the day before yesterday, was the absolute low of the regular trading hours session on a day when we open with a gap. No attempt to close the gap means we're only looking for opportunities to move this market higher. Again, unless we find some sort of structure in the past, that swing high, that previous weekly kickoff high, what was it, 9,600, or we can maybe throughout the day here begin to create some sort of structure where we can lean on for shorts. Now, I'm a bit of a contrarian myself. I've been getting better and better at getting into and staying in trends But I feel that's just me. I feel like I'm a little late to the party to this move to the upside, at least for today. So I'm going to look for some sort of a pullback. This area here might be viewed as a demand level. This area here could be viewed as a demand level. So you try and see if I can get a decent pullback. If not, I'll see if we can build some structure up here that'll give me a contrary move. Again, the market is directional to the upside. Contrary moves should not be held for too long. You don't want to marry those contrary moves. I'm still of the frame of mind that in the Japanese yen, I want to buy weakness. All right. Okay, so we've got our work cut out for us today. Lots of information, lots of opportunities, lots of ideas, lots of things to look at. I'm just going to take a look and see if we have any other large tree that missed your van by a foot. Oh my goodness, Art, that is serendipitous right there. You don't want that large tree landing on your van for sure. Oh my goodness. All right, level 2. Hey, good to see you, Tanya. Happy trading all. Yes. All right, let's get down to business. I'm going to Bodie Wildheart. I do like that name. That is a good name. Wait, thanks. We were pointing that out there, Sarah Hall. Bodie Wildheart. Sounds like something off of. We've been watching Yellowstone. It's some TV show my good friend Dan told us about. So we've been watching that. It sounds like a name from Yellowstone. Sounds like a cowboy. All right, let's take our deep breath. Humble, grateful, and creative. Humble, grateful, and creative. Be patient today. Look for your good trades. Look for your good trade locations. Look to limit your risk. I'm gonna get ready here. We got a couple of minutes before our equity open. Trade well today. Looking forward to seeing you for the group coaching. We also have the back to school webinar at 3 o'clock today. That's going to be on risk management. Hopefully we'll see you there as well. Back to school. Yes, you are correct. Level 2. Thanks for reminding me. So that URL that I sent in there is for the 1 o'clock group coaching session. Pretty sure it's been pretty well advertised, the back to school webinars, and Dan and I are looking forward to being there with you again today at 3 o'clock. So no recap, but we will be having the back to school webinars. Thank you very much for joining me, and trade well today. Let's take another step towards our success today. Trade your plan, trade your process, make good trading decisions, get out there and profit, trade